Right, before you hit anything, put that down on your target line. And this would be for anyone going for a fitting. So what's your target line? So we're 100% agreed.
The red and black flag.
Red and black flag, okay, good. There's a bell curve, right, with anyone who goes for a fitting. You're gonna start to loosen up, then you're gonna hit peak. That's when we've got to get our work done, and then we're all gonna dive. So just so I can start to get a feel for how you align today and what you look at as a player. Great, really good. And the one thing that caught my eye on a couple of shots you hit before we got on camera that I was concerned about, because you were just hitting them, and I get it, but we've got to have a plan. There was no divots.
Yeah.
We had an offline chat over there about lie angle. So now I'm looking at lie angle, and the grass is great here at the Kingdom at the moment, but how's the divot from heel to toe? Pretty good. Shot shape, great. Slight fade, if anything. Spin rate looked pretty good. We've got a TrackMan down, but like my eyes aren't going to lie to me, neither are yours. That was pure, right? It was a good shot. Swing looks good, looks on plane, moves look good. Let's get the TrackMan set up in case we want to call out some numbers. Okay, go again. Get loose just underneath it. Is that the miss normally?
Usually my miss is left and I just throw one of them in after a while.
So you said earlier you have your clubs quite flat. Obviously the toe of the golf club is further away from your nose. So it's dictated to by someone's height, how long their arms are. Honestly, if someone's a good player, they call it early extend when people stand up and out of it. You return everything fantastic, like you're a golfer's dream. And then you can hold your hands in a good position. That's why the lie angle is deemed as quite flat. My worry is if you said you did that a lot, I'd want to look at it. The fact that you said, look, I flip it and hit it left, well, having a lie angle, another great lesson for someone watching this. You can fit your golf clubs to help you with your miss. You've got them because as a good player, you don't want to miss long left. You get that one, it goes short right, you can get it up and down usually. Good golf shot, little heavy, but good. There's plenty of speed. And the reason I'm liking that is because you said you play TP5X golf ball. So the red number from Taylormade. I also bought some black numbers in here. You play in the UK, you play high-level golf tournaments. UK gets bouncy, not receptive. America is pretty receptive all year round. I would start to get you to think about, because the sound is quite firm, but the ball will go a bit further based on the spin, because it's coming out with low spin. I'd ask you to open up a little bit your mind to a TP5. With iron play, you're going to get a bit more spin, you're going to hit it closer to the hole. I might not have you hit it yet, but as we go through what we're going to talk about, which is irons, it's going to be a huge part of the conversation. Now we've got tailor-made options here, all right? And I get it. If you go in for a fitting, it's hard to know as a golfer which route you go down, especially with you. So again, your fitting, you have a lot of power in this because you're a great player. Not a good player, a great player. And you can tell that from divot strikes, the conversations we've had offline, the way you're talking, the tournaments you're playing in, the schedule you've got. Great, great player. So it opens up everything for you. And the reason it opens up everything, because you might stand there and you might say to me like, look, surely it doesn't open up the Stealth HD, but it's an option if you want it to be. I wouldn't, because you've also said some things offline as I've asked you about conversation, I've asked you about shot shape, and you've talked really well about your miss. This probably wouldn't be where I'd go, but if you were someone who, a lot of that last shot we saw where you caught the ground a little early, this wide sole that's in there is going to help you out. So if you're a golfer watching this and you struggle to strike it, that wide sole basically means forgiving. You talked a little bit before with me about turf interaction and how you like the way your clubs came through the turf. Well, your clubs, that then directs me into a route where we go MC, because their P7MC is pretty close to what you play. Now, the reason being, sole is pretty narrow relative to the Stealth HD, which means it can get in the turf and out the turf. Colin Morikawa, when he won the Open, he had this set in because of the way the turf and the way it interacted. What he was referring to, and keep up here, but is bounce and the degrees that as you look from the back to the front, how that club goes in and out the turf. Now, different players translate that in a different way, but that would be a real option for you. So let's put that aside as something we can consider. Now, I also offlined a little bit with you and wanted you to open your eyes to it, but you were like, I'm not sure on the look. But this iron, this 770, is an absolute champ of a club. And the reason being, now look, if I pull this MC in and just pass you that as well, and we maybe get a view from the top line down, you pointed out, which again made me know I was dealing with a good player. Top line, where between my fingers, this was much fatter, much bigger. It's a traditional thing that people talk about. But if you look here at offset, which is this section in here. They're not miles apart. If you have the preference that you like MCs, which I know you do as a player.
My only concern with the MCs would be like, say, like 5.4 wouldn't go long enough. So
you're under the pump, you might have 210 and you want to hit something. You got to carry water. Trust me, I do it in my game. Not that that's right. Tour players do it in their game just to get a bit more freedom and a bit more confidence from the size of it. The other thing it has, which an engineer has gone out and spent a lot of time doing this, it's got flighted CG, which is going to sound to you like, flighted what? What does that mean? It basically means that the center of gravity moves throughout each iron. So when you have a long iron, it's lower, gives you more launch, higher peak, gets the distance. This iron though, versus that model, does not spin loft for loft as much because of the way it goes, which then, how do we counter that? Exactly, golf ball comes into the conversation. As we go through, 790 wouldn't be for you, but it is the sibling to the 770. Notice these things have a speed pocket in. It's not a fancy black line that they just put on the bottom. Oh, that looks pretty. No. What it does is it pulls the CG lower, center of gravity again, sweet spot effectively lower. Most of us hit our irons a little lower in the blade. By having the mass down lower, you get more energy. Great, what do you mean? More speed. Speed gives you more distance. You hit it further, you can hit it closer to flags. Stats tell you you can get less loft going in, which then means you can hit it closer to the hole. Bottom line, anyone who's just got lost in that last 30 seconds, you will win more money off your mates if you use something and they use a 7 and you use an 8. You're winning the cash generally. Piece in the end here, looks great. What does that mean? Don't go at that with your granddad's toolbox, but if you did, you'd get inside there, speed foam air. This is a hollow body construction, okay? Again, what's that mean? Well, when you put speed foam air, foam into the head, gives it this beautiful feel that player of your quality would sound money basically off the blade. But that 790 is a bit bigger, probably wouldn't be where we would go, but I'd absolutely push people to consider it. Then we've got these two beautiful, I mean, these things are...
what everyone wants to use.
Yes, yeah. Maybe you have the game to play these, and if you do, I love it. I mean, you actually do have the game to play these, but you also have the awareness as a great player. Golf's hard, really hard. And I might have seen that shot you hit there, that might be your peak golf shot. I mean, that's LPGA quality. Honestly, that shot there is it. The difference is that LPGA are producing that every time. And, you know, for us mere amateurs, maybe we're not. But if you are, and you're the Scotty Schefflers or the Tiger Woods of this world, then this thing is a dream.
What would be the big difference between the two?
The big difference between the two now is sole geometry. So again, I touched on bounce before. So if you're looking at them, just sole, how that curvature is. As you put them down, the TW set, it's quite old school. The pitching wedge is really quite big, and then it moves down into the 3-iron that's quite intimidating and quite small, which would be the wrong way around for most of us. We'd think the 3's big and the wedge is small. But what Tiger's done is he recognises that he wants to grade from his scoring clubs, his TW wedges, and then get gradually smaller through the set. There's also a difference in grooves. You can see they're very close together. That gives a different spin rate. When you're looking at a player that is going to use these irons, peak height, spin, descent angle is all in their conversation. Here in the MB, you have the mass directly behind the sweet spot, much like as we talked about with our 770 that has a speed pocket that then brings center of gravity mass behind it. Now they do it by simply putting a little bit more mass in there. The other thing is you get a nice peak height out of it, which then gives a steep descent angle. If that's your game, then these are the way to go. I wouldn't rule out for you a combo set. I tried it. I've had players try it. The problem is sometimes you stand there with an 8, and if you just hit balls like the first shot I saw you hit before we turned the cameras on that was lackadaisical with no process, you're better than that. But if you just hit balls like that, that's not going to help you. If you're just chatting away to me and hitting balls, there's a little bit of something in the MC to help you. So that would be an overview. I know, having done a bit of research on this trip, that you went out and you spoke to KBS and you spoke to another fitter here at the Kingdom. You got a lot of information going through your mind now. And I also know, because I've asked the right questions, that you're playing a big tournament. So I am going to be guided completely by you in this fitting. There's so much in Pandora's box over there that we could be here for 3 days. With a player of your level, you have to guide the fitting. And that's anyone out there watching this. You've got to be the owner of your own game, because I can't be on your bag at the next tournament telling you this is what you got to do. Just like your coach can't be there, your caddy will be, But people doing golf clubs, it's like it has to come from, when a player gets to a certain level, it has to come from you. We've got all these options, brilliant. Something I want to show that we would go down the route of with anyone who came here. You can take a fitting golf club, and you see here I've got 1 weak, 2 strong, standard, 3 flat. I've got all the options that I can go off. Each club has a loft and a lie angle that would be deemed as standard. Then it works off that. On the tour, generally the way I prefer to do it would be go off of what is in my mind where a tour would be. You said earlier you think you're as much as 4 degrees flat. That's a lot. I'm probably going to start here, which standard lie on tour for this 6 iron would be 58. So if you see here, I'm going, 61, so I'm going at 58. And then my loft is in at 30, which I don't hate. Now I know where I'm at. I know this is the shaft that you like, which is the KBS Tour Light S. So we're good there. A loft and a lie that I know. So by having you down hitting golf shots with that alignment stick, by agreeing on the target, by checking where we're at, now I can truly put a bit of magic in this and be like, right, this is where we're going.
So is 30 loft standard for this 6 iron?
For that one, yeah, but always be careful what you deem as standard. Like, it's important, like, you should question it as a player because it's standard in a manual today, but when I started doing this, 31 was, and years before that, 32 would have been standard. It's important that you fit your golf clubs to what you need. And we're going to get into that right now. It's a good segue. You could almost say you've done this before because that's a good segue to peak height, spin and golf ball. Golf ball is everything. So chuck me that one, hit a few looseners, and good call out, by the way. I was going to have you hit this heavy one. I like that you stopped it. That's perfect. And again, a good fitter will make the environment nice and chill. Okay, go again. Remember, you just had a break. From a visual point of view, anyone out there thinking about like how do you fit and what are you looking at? As I watch Hannah just setting up to that, I'm making sure when I look at this toe section here, I could get a credit card or a coin, a quarter, just underneath the toe. Because as most golfers come through, then they raise the handle. I spoke about that earlier. Hannah's not a handle raiser, but a lot of people do early extend. That was better, bit more speed, ball slightly out to the right. We had one out to the right, we had one straight pull. Divots are great, nothing concerning. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do actually. Go again, go again. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Sound not convinced.
My foot slipped a bit.
Foot slipped. See what the number. Okay, here's what I want to see. Come and have a look at this. This shot here, so that's 6,200 number. That was pretty good. That was the push, the slight push. Then you went slight pull, 5,000. So your spin dropped to 5. Then you went not bad, little toey, 5.2. Then you went good hit, 6.3. So that's your spin rate, all right? Remember, you already called it out, 30 degrees of loft. Any golfer that has 30 degrees of loft, you know they're good when they're returning a launch angle, which is the column right next to it, that is half of that. Your average is 14.5. That is pretty good. Now, if I go into a screen that makes it a little bit easier to see, they're the two numbers that I'm looking at. This speed, excellent. This total on a 6 iron, excellent. This is a hair low, peak height. I wouldn't mind it to be a bit higher, but you're bringing in trade-offs. We can see here your path, a little bit drawy, a little bit over it, a little bit right to left. I'd ask you maybe to start hitting a bit more draw feel, but it's not miles away. It's very neutral. I probably wouldn't even touch that. I'm saying it for the camera's purposes. These are the two numbers that I am concerned about. If you look at the sole of the club, it's got a 6 on it, and you spin it on a straight shot, 6,000, then the ball is in the right area for you and the spin is in the right area for you if you're launching it at 15. If your shot to the right spins a little more, or your fade shot, you haven't hit any fades yet, you've hit pushes, no fades, the numbers match. If you hit a flat pull and the spin stays up above 5,000, it's just about acceptable. But remember at the start, you said your worry, your miss is left. If I get more spin on your left shot, it lands softer. I would start to think about this. Again, the bell curve and what we said, I don't want you to hit too many. I think let's hit a couple with a TP5 golf ball. Let's look at our yardages. So if we look at the averages now, and I do what's called normalized, which today we've got California. It's always air's heavy, but it's a good day. Land angle 40 degrees average, total 161 average. Let's look at how TP5 performs. Going to be softer off the blade. I think it might give you a bit more spin. Look at the grouping out there. Don't get sucked into just the TrackMan. Look at the grouping. That one went a bit further. So spin rate, little push, 7,400 now with the TP5. It's too high.
Quite.
Why do you think we're coming back in here?
Change the eye angle.
Also, get you out of hit, hit, hit. You've got a bell curve, remember? Good player. You can't be hit, hit, hit. Got to be chill, chill, chill.
I don't feel like I'm warmed up enough.
That's just fine, because we're going to get to that. I'm going to show you something else in a minute. I don't need to have you hit a million balls to get you in a place where I'm happy with what you've got. Trust me, if I'm happy with what you got, it's going to be pretty good. It's just the way it is. Hit that 770 for me now.
What did you change the eye angle to?
We're on 59 now on both clubs. I just went 1 degree more upright. Look at the height. That's just a dream. But I get it. I did it as well. People come here from the UK, they love to see it like this.
Yeah.
Tour players hit it like this. You have so much speed, like don't waste it. I was hit heavy. Look at the height.
How high is too high?
Very player preference, right? If you, I mean, they've gone up, that was 88 feet. So we only really gained on our peak height 10 feet. But look, we've gone to that 165 carry that you were talking about earlier and 173 total. For me, TrackMan doesn't lie. You're like, I hit 160. Okay, well, now I'm seeing it. So where do you think my head's at now? You're a good player. What do you think I'm thinking looking at this?
Why is it going so far right?
Exactly. So
That's what I'm thinking.
exactly. I don't know, like that was 6,700 spin. We know the loft's good. You got plenty of spin. Now I'd be like, boom, let's go back. Let's keep testing. I can't live with the right, so we might go more upright again. Sharp. So that's low in the blade. Remember I talked about that speed foam that's in there, the speed foam air? That's got your peak height down because it wasn't a great hit, but your spin has stayed up and your launch is good, and that's gone your 165 total on a miss hit. I think you're getting the flow now. I think your paths are, let's have a look, yeah, -1 on your path. So your paths, looking at them, are going a little bit that way. That's what we're seeing today. Spin was down on that one. That would make me then be like, okay, you know, I'd be like, I need some feedback from you as a player.
Because I feel like I would need it to go 165.
Yeah.
Like to match.
Yeah.
Otherwise
And then we would look then at 7 and maybe make the 7 iron loft stronger. So 7, 8, 9 would be MC. But I'd strengthen them to match that because that's going to be a stronger club. That's what I would do here. But it's got to come from you, Hannah. It's got to be, what do you want? So that has to be path, doesn't it? -2.4. I'm looking at just that number now. Fitting is almost done here now for me. I'm going 654. You don't seem closed off to it. I'm suggesting to you 654, and then we'll look at lofts individually. So that's where my head is at. Providing you as a player can live with it. This might be the worst alignment stick in Southern California. There she blows. Okay, how's that look in terms of, are we good?
We're very left.
I'm okay with that because I don't want you hitting left of that. Plus the alignment stick's a little dodgy. I don't know if I can get it in again. Miles left, Jesus. I mean, I thought very left, fair enough. Didn't realise it was 50 yards left. Okay, so you know where I'm going with this. Draw it around the stick. TP5 ball? Yeah,
yes.
Black number. Okay, so your draw is going to have less spin, so you're going to keep this hanging in there now. Okay, go again. 1 degree on the path, well done. That was toey. Just get that club falling behind you a bit. It's just a bit steep. So like a good drill. Again, just drilling it. We'll just drill. Just drop your right foot back and then fill the space because that was -1. So drop your foot back a little bit for the next shot and then fill it with a draw. So with this now, Hannah, we're getting into the final part of the fitting, all right? It's been a very like overviewed one. 4, 5, 6 again, and you'd have to make a decision on this. 7, 7. Then we go 7, 8, 9 wedge, MC. I loved that you owned the decision on the shafts. I loved it. And then what I would do now in this final part, which we're starting to get to, your swing today is a little over and you're hitting either a pull or you're hitting a toe and hold off, no problem. But I'd be like, look, remove this, remove this. Now we've got the spec. I'd also say, remove this. I would then give you some time to sort of be a player and hit different shapes. We know that I'm getting enough spin out of that head with the TP5. So again, it would be like, rather than me force what you want to happen, I'd be like, Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Is the long irons what you want? And then we'd move down that route. That would be how I would go about this. And then it's a good example of how you've leveraged the technology in the long irons for the flighted CG and then the MCs. So what shot shape are you going for?
I'm going to try and hit a draw.
Okay. And that's, I mean, how good's that? That's LPGA quality.
Really good.
Look at how steep look at the distance you've just got out of it. Look at the land angle, 6,000 spin. So remember, you've now got a 6 iron. You've just hit your draw with 6,000 spin. Money. 15.7 launch, 174 total, 166 carry, 87 peak height. Great. -1 path. So if we weren't here on camera, I wouldn't even have shown you that. But it's just like, I need you to know, and your fitter needs to know where neutral is.
Yeah.
And then you step back again and you go hit me a fade. You could hit fades for days right now. Where you're swinging it, this is going to be easy for you. A nice little butter fade for you, no problem. See? You've just hit 2 absolute quality golf shots. Look how far that's gone.
I think I'm a lot better without an alignment stick.
Of course, you're free. You're free. But the reason you put the alignment stick in is so that I know where you're at.
Yeah.
Trust me, great comment. And look at the turf. A lot of golfers hate being restricted by lines. If you go through a putter fitting, or if you get into this situation, you see players, they get a Sharpie and they mark a line on their ball and they think that's going to help them. Well, optometrists have shown here with stuff we've done, some people's eyes don't like seeing lines. So when you get into this, you feel restricted. And again, it's another part of the fitting. Like, by taking you out, great comment, you've just hit your fade 170. I mean, 6,300. This is absolute class. You should take a lot of confidence from what this is. Fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, you've got to love them.
That's so good.
5'8", 174.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Very
Thank you.
good.